All right, what's going on, Insane Gamers? As always, your boy Yo Soy ACWeezy with the man goddamn T Hayes. Back again with another installation of the No Look podcast. Now, Tyler, I don't know. Wasn't really much sports events over the weekend, so I don't know, might be a little bit of a more laid back, boring show, if you will. But what'd
Yeah,
you
not
do?
a lot.
I watched Game of Thrones. That's the only thing I did.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah.
not a lot going on in the sports world this weekend. It was kind of upsetting. Oh, wait. No, there was. Besides
What?
playing 18 holes this weekend, on Saturday, got my stroke game on like Tiger Woods, and I'm not talking about hitting the links, or yes, I am. Um, but we had a lot of NFL that happened. 120 minutes, if you will, of NFL football, plus the fights. McGregor versus Poirier. Definitely butchered that name, but some basketball as
Sounded
well.
good.
But what's that?
Sounded good to me.
Sounded good. He's a
Poirier.
Bayou boy, so it's kind of French. It's like
Hmm.
that Bayou, that Dish and Poirier.
Yeah, Louisiana boy. Did you watch the fight at all?
Yeah, no, I went to Irish pub, watched the fight. Irish for my boy McGregor being
Mm-hmm.
Irish. So I thought, what better luck to have McGregor win than being at an Irish restaurant?
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I was somewhat rooting for him as well, but it didn't work out in his favor. I don't know if do you want to save that till after? Or should we
No,
dive
let's
into
just
it?
dive into it
Yeah.
right now.
We usually like to do things in chronological order. Obviously, that was the first sporting event over the weekend, Saturday night. The main event kicked off around midnight. I'd say the undercards were pretty underwhelming, Tyler. Wasn't much going on there. There
Few
was,
knockouts.
yeah. The one fight I did enjoy was I think it was maybe two fights before McGregor, but it was the guy making his
Oh, his
UFC
UFC
debut,
debut.
and pretty good fight. You know, pretty evenly matched. They were chucking some fists around. He came out with the victory. Almost snapped his legs when he tried doing a backflip off the top of the cage, but yeah, I mean overall,
Yeah, Michael Chandler, that was his name.
okay. Yeah, so that was a good one. The McGregor fight, pretty good. Obviously, I don't know. I feel like going into it, a lot of people thought that it was going to be rigged in McGregor's favor, maybe to try to get him and Khabib back in the ring. Obviously, it didn't work out that way. Poirier, Dustin Poirier, right? Like you said, came out with the victory, and he really, just was dominant the whole fight for as long as it lasted. I mean, it looked like me in the bedroom. Didn't even last barely a few rounds, It's like, yeah, but I call see it, T. But he was working his leg kicks, and then in the end, he just got him by the TKO. What'd you think of it?
No, I mean, going back to Chandler real quick, I thought it was very impressive. I knew he was going in and he was gonna win it as soon as I saw like the first 5 seconds of the guy that he was facing. He just looked like a slender man.
Yeah.
He just wanted to get knocked out, it seemed like, and he did. But my favorite part was when Chandler called out literally the whole entire division, including Khabib. But going to which I think he can make a splash. And I think what that's going to show us is, give Chandler a chance against Poirier, really show where he's at in the class, especially after Poirier beat McGregor
Mhm.
pretty handedly. The first round, I mean, I'll dissect it. I thought the first round went to McGregor pretty simply. He landed a lot of good strikes, a lot of good punches, almost had a spinning roundhouse back leg kick, which is one of my favorite moves that they do in
Mhm.
UFC. And I was hoping for the knockout. I called that he was going to do that and lead in with the knockout in the first round, but he missed it. Going into the second round, though, it kind of looked like McGregor just gave up almost. He was going into that knockout punch. He was on the back of the cage, back to the cage. And as you see Poirier throwing those fists, his hands are down here.
Mhm.
If you're being punched, I mean, yeah, you're dodging your head, but like, wouldn't you want your fist up here? I mean, I'm no UFC expert or anything, but
I think that
protect
might
your
help a
head.
little bit.
Yeah, protect your head. Maybe stop a few punches from landing in your jaw. And then we got the second meme of the week. First was Bernie Sanders, and now you got the Conor McGregor knockout meme. Uh, Me personally, at the end of the day, I think McGregor did it on purpose. Coming in, he knew this fight was going to land him a lot of money because it was the second installation of the McGregor versus Poirier, and I think they
Mhm.
needed it to go 1-1 to ensure that there was going to be a trilogy. You know, if there's anything McGregor's good at, he's good at making money, and I think he saw the opportunity. Poirier's, you know, into the prime of his career. McGregor, you would say, is in the prime of his career. Why not get a trilogy fight?
Yeah, I mean, you can't really call it an upset because Poirier was, 2, McGregor was 4.
Right.
So I can't really call it an upset. Obviously, McGregor, he's done a lot for the UFC, kind of transcended the whole, at least pay-per-view, you know, big stage aspect of the UFC, I'd say, in my opinion. Do you think McGregor, I don't know, do you think his kind of prime of fighting, if you will, is behind him? Do you think he has any more championship fights left in him?
I do, and I really think the reason why he looked like he was not himself was because, and he said it so himself, you know, he has been away from training. You know, he's actually switched styles. He was going more boxing, and I think that was, you know, to kind of be in boxing, but also UFC. And, you know, as a UFC fan, you would kind of wish that he would put his eggs in one basket because obviously he's not a boxer, he's a UFC fighter. And even Khabib said it himself. He tweeted that this is what happens when you change your whole sparring crew, your whole training staff, and, you know, you just look unprepared. And, you know, he was left unprepared. I thought he came out strong, but, you know, at the end, he was one that got KO'd.
Yeah. No, I mean, people were saying that too. Obviously, his new, I think, jiu-jitsu trainer, Dylan Dennis, you know, he's dating Sav Montana, whatever her name is, one of the most, you know, famous cheeks on Instagram. So you gotta wonder how committed he is to the sport of UFC.
I mean, if I saw 2 cheeks every day, I'd be questioning my entitlement to the UFC as well too.
Yeah, I'd be a stay-at-home dad, 100%.
Yeah, I'd be a trophy husband. Oh,
Yeah.
you need the trash taken out? I got you.
Yeah.
Honey. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, it was a long day at work. You want me to rub your shoulders, give you a little foot massage, maybe put a little piggy in the mouth real quick? Oh, okay.
Need some baby oil?
He's a big baby oil guy. All right, see, let's stop dancing around, you know, the bush, I guess you could say. The main thing, this is what everyone wants to hear about, obviously. The first game of the weekend, conference championships, Green Bay Packers versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What happened? The Bucs won. Am I surprised? A little bit. Am I upset? Yes, a lot.
Can I just say one thing? Last week, I was called a fool twice. The second one we're gonna get into, I understand completely.
Mm-hmm.
This one right here, I got called an absolute fool. I was asked if I was high, if I was drunk, if I was, you know, in the right sane of mind. I mean, it was. I want to know, like, what's going through your mind right now as a Packers fan?
Wait, what? I'm confused. What was the statement that you got called?
You called
stupid
me a fool for going for the Bucs beating the Packers in Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
The second one was going for the Bills against the Chiefs.
Right. Yep. Obviously, as a Packers fan, I was a little biased. With that being said, going into the game, I had all the confidence in the world. But what happened, Tyler? We faced the best football player of all time, Tom Brady. He may be wearing different colors, different uniform, but he's still the same Tom Brady. You know, the avocado ice cream, whatever he fucking eats, is just giving him superpowers. I was quite upset yesterday, just kind of right after the game happened. Might have been a little intoxicated. I took a nap. Reflected a little bit on the season. And am I upset? No. The only thing I can say is it was a good game. They both played well. The Packers, I don't think they lost the game by any means. I would wish the officiating was a little bit more consistent. With that being said, we're talking about the game was, you know, last crucial play other than a couple kneel downs was on a holding call on the defense. Do I think that was a holding call? 99% of the time, yeah, but they were letting him play all day. There's still shots, screenshots. Alan Lazard getting his actual jersey held, which was impeding his path to catching it. This guy, I forget who it was, Kevin King, whoever, grabbed the guy's undershirt that must have been made of fucking Mr. Fantastic skin because it was stretching all the way to the sideline.
So grab Tyler Johnson's.
Yeah, if it's a, you know, like I said, Do I think that should have been called a penalty? Yes, but if you're gonna call it that way the whole game, call it evenly both sides.
Right.
There was
They missed a lot of calls
complete
on both
egregious
sides.
plays, but other than that, I'm happy with the Packers the way they played. Rodgers had himself a good game. I wish they kind of ran the ball a little bit more down the stretch. Anytime you pick off Tom Brady 3 times, I mean, after the third pick, I'm like, okay, this is it right here. You know, the second pick, I was like, all right, third and out. Third pick, it's like we're gonna win the game right here. A little bit of a questionable play call, I guess, by Matt LaFleur down the red zone, 4th down. I didn't hate it at the time. You know, you've been able to turn the Bucs offense over 3 times previously in the game, and you know it was surefire points. You don't know what happens. Aaron Rodgers, he had a clear path to the end zone. Could have fucking, you know, sat down on the bench in his walker and kind of crawled into the end zone. I'm not sure what he tried doing, squeezing the ball into Devontae Adams. Obviously, it fell short. You know, Devontae Adams could have caught a touchdown that turned into a field goal. They lit up a big play before the halftime. There's a lot of small things, but overall, they didn't really, you know, lose the game that bad.
Let's digest this. Aaron Jones gets hurt. He was having a great game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously they didn't establish the run with Jamal Williams and A.J. Dillon because they weren't running that well. And also, might I add, they were going up against the best rush defense in football.
Mm-hmm.
Vita Vea came back. First game back since like week 2. He definitely clogged up the line. He played like 85% of the snaps, which was crazy to me, you know, being out 18 weeks practically. But going back to what you said, they could have easily called a lot of plays or a lot of calls differently, not only on the Packers side, but also on the Bucs side. Like you said, they let them play. I mean,
that last play, there was a fucking hold on Rashawn Gary.
And also on that last play, there was a play before that where your offensive guy was holding Shaq Barrett pretty clearly.
Right, so then... so all right, I guess we're going back to the point where that last penalty shouldn't have been called.
Or call it and call the other penalties as well.
It was just one of those things. I'm listening to the game. It was like before the half or just after the half, and you know the announcers are like, "Oh, 0 penalties up until this point, and I guess we're not gonna just jinx the kickers. We're gonna jinx the referees." And then what do you know? They call these penalties in the second half. But, I mean, with you bringing that up, I wouldn't even say Vita Vea. Jason Pierre-Paul dominated Billy Turner all game. We definitely...
As he should have.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely lost and could feel the absence of David Bakhtiari. You know, the line did all right. You know, a few of those 3 and outs, Tyler, they got sacked almost deep in their, you know, side of the field as well, which, you know, that kind of changes the landscape.
No, but, I mean... The Bucs rush defense. I mean, their front, you know, 5 technically. They have 3, but they have 2 edge rushers in Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul. I mean, Shaq Barrett absolutely had a monster game rushing the edge the whole entire game. He was clogging a lot of the outside and, you know, coming back to the inside. I think, I mean, looking at, like, obviously I'm not a fan favorite of the Bucs, but looking on both sides, you know, what, as a Packers fan, what do you think has to happen in the offseason for a Packers defense not to let up 31 points against the Bucs in an NFC Championship game? Because it's becoming more and more of a, you know, it's repetition of, you know, you guys do so well during the regular season. Your defense is so dominant. You know, you're 12-3. You lead the NFC North, you know, every year. But then you get to the final game, you know, NFC Championship, you faced the 49ers last year. You give up about 40 points. You know, this year you let up 31 points against the Bucs offense. I mean, the Bucs offense is very good, but still, you know, with the defense that you have, what more do you guys need to make sure that doesn't happen in the big game?
We need to not play Tom Brady. I mean, I'm just looking at it here. I wanted to confirm. I mean, if you told me, you know, before the game or after the game, I didn't watch the game, the Packers held the Bucs to under 100 yards rushing. They owned the time of possession. They won the turnover battle. I would have said, how much did the Packers win by? Instead, they just went up against Tom Brady, who, you know, like you said pre-show, he won his first Super Bowl 19 years ago. I mean, I see a clip on Instagram. It's like maybe 19 years ago, it was like he's holding the Super Bowl Lombardi Trophy. Pat Mahomes is 6 years old. This guy has been doing it for years, and overall, out of all my formulas, Tyler, I say experience is the main thing. Tom Brady at the head of the charge. There's not really much you can say. Obviously, there's some questions. I think special teams is a big question mark for the Packers. I mean, they brought in Tavon Austin, who's played for almost all 32 teams in the NFL. He's old now. They can't really find a guy that can return.
I mean, look at, not to interrupt you, but Jamal Williams yesterday.
Oh yeah, gave him great field position.
Absolute shit on special teams.
Jamal Williams. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the Tampa Bay guy. No, you're talking about kick returns.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say what's this guy's name? Johnson.
For the Bucks.
Yeah. He's the return
Tyler
guy.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Mickens. Mickens is the return guy.
I mean, I just remember a few kicks and punts. He got him, almost to the 50-yard line, which anytime you give Tom Brady that short of a field. But yeah, Jamal Williams, I mean, they're a challenge away from, having pretty terrible field position on that one. He decided to run out of the end zone. Obviously, kind of a choice on his part because he wasn't sure if it hit the goal line or not. Obviously, they won the challenge.
I mean, you kind of dance around my question. My question was, what does the Packers defense need to get past the NFC Championship? Obviously, not to face Tom Brady, but I mean, if you're gonna face Tom Brady next year with the Bucks, for instance, what would you want on the Bucks defense to prevent Tom Brady from advancing to the Super Bowl?
I mean, really, the only thing that they kind of lack right now is middle linebacker. I forget what his name is. They've been shuffling through. They had Christian Kirksey there. They moved him to the outside. He had a pretty decent game. 51, I forget. He was playing with the club all game. He was battling through some injuries. He went down to the sideline a few times. He wanted to be out there for his team and fight for him. But other than that, I mean, they didn't really get much pressure on Brady. I know Kenny Clark had that one sack. I don't even know. I mean, I guess a secondary cornerback because Kevin King got exposed quite a bit yesterday.
Yeah.
Especially against Scotty Miller. Jair Alexander, he's phenomenal. Darnell Savage, Adrian Amos, I thought played well.
Kevin King needs to get off Bumble or whatever dating app he's on because my boy jumped like 6 minutes too early on that jump past Mike Evans and then got absolutely torched by the shortest guy on the field and Scotty Miller. Like you said, he just absolutely got exposed. Finding someone that's better than him would be great. I was about to say, their run defense was absolutely exceptional yesterday. I feel like what happened in the game plan was like, all right, let's not get absolutely destroyed by Rojo and Leonard Fournette this game, like we did back when we lost them. I forget, was it November or October or something like that?
Pretty early. I think it was like week 6.
I mean, Rojo had like 200 plus yards on him. They did exceptionally well on the run. A lot of let up third down possessions was what killed the Packers. Tyler Johnson catching that third down pass for like 18 yards. Godwin had a few. Gronk had one. It's a lot of let ups that if they had stopped them in that possession, the Bucks wouldn't have gone on to score 3 or a touchdown even. But I mean, looking at it, I feel like the better team won, honestly. I think the Bucks are playing exceptionally well right now, especially on defense. They're getting to the quarterback very well. Tom Brady throwing 3 interceptions. Jameis Winston's looking like, yo, bro, I've been doing that way before you, but I was losing.
Yeah. No, that's tough. I mean, I don't even know how many points. I know they had 6 points off the first 2 interceptions. The Packers did, where I think the Patriots had like 14 off their 2 turnovers. So, I don't know, Aaron Jones, that fumble, I think, what was it? 3-2 was the turnover battle. So, the Packers didn't help, but I mean, the Bucks converted their turnovers into points, and at the end of the day, that's what it came down to.
Right.
When the Packers have to settle for that field goal instead of getting a touchdown, they come in, I guess that was one point. Like I said, they didn't play terrible, but they come in with the number one red zone offense, scoring touchdowns on 80% of their possessions. And then I'm not sure what the exact number was, but obviously they came away with 2 field goals that, if you change those 3 into 7, then they probably win the game.
Now, a lot of speculation is going around, especially after Aaron Rodgers' interview. Will Aaron Rodgers play for the Green Bay Packers next year? Obviously, he does have a 3-year contract linked to the Packers, but he is in control of his own destiny. If you're Aaron Rodgers, I mean, obviously, trying not to be in a Bucks fan or Bucks owner, as I should say. If you're Aaron Rodgers, do you stay with this Packers team and try and ride it out going for a Super Bowl, you know, in the Packers you trust, or do you do what Brady did or, some other quarterbacks and try and find a team that's going to bring you to that Super Bowl?
I mean, obviously he already has 1 Super Bowl under his belt. Maybe he should have a couple more. I mean, obviously Tyler says don't talk about the past couple, games in the playoffs against the Seahawks. I thought they could have won the Super Bowl if they got past them. But I mean, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I think we got all the tools in Green Bay. Just didn't really get any help. If they play the Saints, they might be, on their way to Tampa Bay right now. But of course, Tom Brady decides he wants to play in the NFC this year, and they got to get through him to get to the Super Bowl. But yeah, I think he stays. I think obviously he likes getting the critics going in the media, man. Everyone's like, oh, he said, my future is uncertain. It's a beautiful mystery. I mean, they were saying the same thing about him and LaFleur when they came in. Oh, Aaron Rodgers likes controlling the game. LaFleur wants to get this new type of offense in there. Now these guys are best buddies. They drink scotch on the weekends together. So I think I think he stays. I don't really know if I need to elaborate on it anymore. There's a lot of young guys. Aaron Jones, I think he has a good rapport with Devontae Adams. At this point in his career, I'm not sure why he would want to, start over, if you will.
Yeah. No, I mean, a lot of people in the media are linking him already to obvious candidates, such as the Saints, the Colts, even the Steelers, 49ers even as well, too. Go back to his hometown, play for his favorite team growing up. Would I like to see Aaron Rodgers, go to a different team? No, I would actually hate it. I think, guys that skip town, trying to find something better, not always find, the gold at the end of the tunnel. I think what he has in Green Bay is great. And I think if he doesn't want to taint his career, I think he should stay in Green Bay. I think he'll look like Derek Jeter, like a legend, a guy that stays in one place his whole entire career. He bleeds, green and yellow. I think the Packers, like you said, are 1 to 2, maybe even 3 players that are decent away from, going to that next game. They have a great head coach in LaFleur. They have great players. They just need to get past that last game, the NFC Championship. And I think what has happened to them the last 2 years, they've just faced a team that has come in absolutely red hot. And what happened last year could possibly happen this year. The team that they face gets absolutely mucked by the fucking Chiefs. It's definitely possible.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot depends on what happens on the next game in the Super Bowl, obviously. If Tom Brady wins, what is it, 6 or 7? 7. If he wins number 7, rides off into the sunset, no more Brady, no more Breeze. I mean, Rodgers and the Packers own the NFC for, the foreseeable future if that happens.
So we'll get into that next week. I'll have to write that down. Will Brady, if Brady wins, does he come back for another year? Stay tuned into No Look Podcast. We'll definitely go over that next week.
Yep.
Pre-Super Bowl talks. But are you ready to get into the next game? I know you're probably sick of talking about the Packers, especially after what happened. We get talking to a little bit of a lighter side. Austin picked the Chiefs. I picked the Bills. I said last week I went with my heart. I went 1 for 1. Austin went 1 for 1. Obviously, Austin's 1 for 1 took a little bit of a piece out of his heart more than it did mine. But
Years
All I
off my life, more like it. I mean,
I can only imagine. Honestly, dude, I suffered a lot of anxiety myself throughout that Bucks game, and I was, sitting with people that were huge Bucks fans, and I'm like, I'm not even a Bucks fan, and I'm like, freaking out. But, the next game didn't have much to do with me, as it didn't have much to do with Austin as well. Chiefs versus Bills. Austin, would like to say I got sucked in just like everybody else who picked the Bills got sucked in. It was an absolute shit pumping of a game. And I really wish I picked this as my shit pumping of the game last week, because we just saw that the Chiefs are the real deal. They are
hand up, I
basically
want to
they
say
are.
I think I used the words bloodbath when I was making my pick for this game last week, which I don't know if it was as big of a victory as I predicted, but
Can I say
it's
something
pretty
real quick
handy.
before you get into whatever you're gonna say about the Chiefs?
No, you can. You're still going. I just want to throw that out there. You're talking about shit pumping.
No, yeah. Um, I just don't think Travis Kelce is as good as everybody thinks he is. And let me tell you why.
Wait,
I'm not a
can you say something, or can you repeat yourself that you've been saying for the last however many weeks?
Let's just go over the way this guy scores touchdowns. First touchdown on the fucking 2-yard line. Pat Mahomes underhands it like a softball pitch, like he's
Yep.
Jenny Finch in the fucking pitching mound, right to Travis Kelce. The easiest touchdown in NFL history. There's no skill that goes into that. The next one, he's wide open off of a fake to the other side of the field, and Mahomes could have thrown it all the way up into the atmosphere. Frost coming down from the mountains, and Travis Kelce could have caught it. He was so wide open.
Hmm.
Now, does it take skill to get open like that? Perhaps. But still, these touchdowns that he is scoring are just like ridiculous.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You kind of said it yourself. You got to be good to get that open. I mean, will I say that it was all him and he was the most important piece of that offense? I mean, no. Hardman scored, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, you got to account for Tyreek Hill. And a lot of that speed on the outside just opens it up, in the middle for Travis Kelce. But Tyler, I think you kind of just argued with yourself there. I mean, you're saying, look at the ways this guy scores. He's not a traditional tight end. This guy can, basically rush it in from the goal line. He can catch long balls. I mean, this guy is one of a kind. He reminds me, not just because he's in a Chiefs uniform, but Tony Gonzalez, a Hall of Famer. Just the versatility of him, the things he can do, the packages, the blocking. He's just the total package, in my opinion.
I think I just hate Travis Kelce.
I think you do. I think you
I
do.
just don't understand why, and it's funny because I showed my barber his hairstyle when he had a fade. The guy's devilishly handsome, of course.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I just don't think he's the best tight end in the NFL. By no means. I think the package that he's a system tight end. The packages they put him in,
A system tight end. That's the first I've heard that.
Allows him to score the way he does. You put George Kittle in there, you put Jordan Reed in there for fuck's sakes, and he'll probably score the same amount as Travis Kelce. I just think Eric Bieniemy deserves a fucking Nobel Peace Prize for the way he gets this guy open. But I have to say the best player on the Chiefs team is not Patrick Mahomes. It's Tyreek Hill by a fucking landslide. That guy is a problem. He is going to be the problem against the Bucks, especially after scoring, having 200 plus yards against them the last time they faced each other in the first quarter. The guy is unreal. Nobody can catch up to him. Jordan Poyer almost had him, but the guy's little legs were moving like in hyperspeed. It's just, if I'm Todd Bowles of the Tampa Bay Bucks, I am not sleeping more than 2 hours at a time without watching film on how I'm going to try and stop Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler, at the end of the day, it just goes back to what I've been saying for how many years. The NFL is rigged. You get Brady versus Mahomes, passing the torch, if you will, to the next generational dynasty. Obviously he's not on the Patriots, but it's still Brady to Mahomes, and he's kind of ushering that new next era of quarterbacks. We're seeing Breeze gone this year, potentially Brady. We'll see. Like you said, we'll get into that next week. Rodgers may be the last of that kind of group. But now we got Mahomes, we got Josh Allen, we got Deshaun Watson, which, might get into that a little later in the show where he may end up next year. We got Lamar Jackson. I lost my train of thought there. But yeah, I mean, pretty much the NFL is rigged. Tyler, Brady, Mahomes, Chiefs, Super Bowl. And I think you said we want to get into our predictions next week, right? For
Yeah.
the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All right. We got Hayesful coming in with the follow. Appreciate that.
Last thing I'll say on the Bills Chiefs game. I mean, you probably didn't even. Did you watch the game at all?
I started off before the start of the fourth quarter.
Okay. I mean, a few things. The Bills, I mean, they must have listened to the No Look podcast last week when I said try and include everybody but Stephon Diggs, because that's exactly what they did. They took Stephon Diggs completely out of the playbook. I mean, the Chiefs' defensive scheme on stopping him was absolutely flawless. Minus that one pass that he caught for like 25 yards in the fourth quarter. They shut him down completely. Cole Beasley playing with like a broken fibula. I don't know if you saw that, for more than half the season. But really, it goes to me, Josh Allen, what the fuck are you doing? I don't know if you saw that multiple times, almost being sacked. He's holding a guy like this, stiff arming him, and running backwards. Just fall to the ground.
Yeah, he tried doing a little bit too much, escaping the rush and getting out of the pocket. That one was pretty bad, where he could have easily thrown it away, but his eyes were still downfield. He was trying to make a play, be Superman, if you will. Another thing, Tyler, that just kind of popped in my head as we're talking about Stephon Diggs and whatnot. Bashaud Breeland, the cornerback for the Chiefs, he was like a third-string guy in the Packers 2-3 years ago. Now he goes to Kansas City and he's guarding the number one receiver. So I'm not sure if they got something else in the water over there. He just kind of got some new legs underneath him. But it's funny to me to see that.
Hey, some people fit well in other schemes. I mean, Feliciano, the lineman for the Bills, used to be a lineman for the Raiders, and he was absolute dog shit on our team. And now on the Bills, he's like almost a Pro Bowler. So some schemes fit well than others. I just think Chiefs defense is shockingly almost as good as their offense. When you get a team that's, their schemes are shutting down one of the best wide receivers in the league, it's kind of like, whoa, like Tyrann Mathieu playing very well at safety, this late in his career, not only stopping Stephon Diggs on his side of the field, but rushing Josh Allen off the edge. Chiefs are going to be a tough team to beat. I am very interested in seeing how the Bucs scheme not only their offense, but their defense.
Yeah, it'll be a good matchup for sure. I don't know. Tom Brady, again, making history. First quarterback or team, really, to play in their home stadium for the Super Bowl.
And guess who's here?
You getting tickets or what?
No tickets. Probably going to do some of the NFL fan experience, though. They have them not this weekend coming up and also the Super Bowl weekend. So it'll definitely be lit here in Tampa. Last night, to get into some Tampa news, last night they greeted the Bucs at the airport. So it was like crazy at the airport last night. And then they had a parade here in Harbor Island, which is like kind of in downtown area for the Bucs players. So it's definitely going to be crazy. The last time, actually 2001, I think they had the Super Bowl in Tampa. A lot of stories of people gone missing for a few days before they came back up, due to all the partying and, it's especially with the Bucs being in the Super Bowl. I mean, your boy might not even make it on the No Look podcast the day after the Super Bowl. I cannot neither confirm nor deny. So if I go missing, Austin, you know why.
Okay. Well, at least you got that out there. I mean, you might want to, write something on your arm like they do in college or whatever. If found, call this number, return to this address.
Yeah, put a collar around my neck. If found, call ACWeezy at Insane Games TV.
Tyler, I also, now that we're talking about it, I was debating if I wanted to call you out or not. Last week, I kind of came to your defense when, you were posting some promotional stuff about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I said, yeah, you live down there. It's kind of the home team. But now, as you're trying to crawl back and wear the Las Vegas Raiders hat, I want to retract everything I said. You're an arrogant, Tom Brady Buccaneers fanboy bitch, and I take back everything I said in your defense last week. I hope they lose, but more so, I hope you don't get the fucking party. Because you gotta fight for your right to party. Okay.
So we know who Austin's going to pick next week on the No Look podcast for the Super Bowl. But, I mean, Austin, you can't hate me for, living in the moment, as, your therapist Dana would probably say. I have an opportunity in front of me, a home team, the Bucks, playing at home for a Super Bowl. Some are saying Tampa Bay is the new title town. I don't know if you saw this. Since Brady has been signed by the Buccaneers, the Tampa Bay Lightning win the Stanley Cup. The Tampa Bay Rays go to the World Series, and now the Bucks are in the Super Bowl, and they bring Toronto Raptors to Tampa to play this NBA season. So a lot of champions in Tampa.
I mean, I'm just happy Tampa Bay has something to be proud about, because everything else that is in Tampa isn't really that great.
Obviously, Austin hasn't been to the strip clubs.
I have.
The ones in Tampa?
Okay, maybe not.
Yeah, there we go.
But no, I'm just giving you a hard time. I do retract that, and I denounce all your rights to fucking support the Bucks without being a fanboy bandwagon bitch.
Next week I'll buy a Bucks visor, rock it like John Gruden did.
I was gonna say, if you go to these NFL events, are you gonna wear Raiders stuff, or are you gonna buy a fucking Mike Evans t-shirt jersey?
Never. I'll always be a Raiders fan till the day I die. And I'll probably, I might buy a Bucks visor. That's the furthest I would ever go. Maybe an old school John Lynch jersey, 47. Rock that shit. That'd be tight. Anyways, we're talking quarterbacks. Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, Super Bowl. Big news is QB carousels going about. A lot of quarterbacks up in the air this year in the NFL. Where are they going to land next season? Adam Schefter released a list today listing all the quarterbacks that could potentially be in different uniforms next year. Here's the list. Are you ready, ACWeezy?
I'm ready. Hit me.
Some QBs whose future are in questions. I'm going to start bottom up because, I like to put bottoms up, what I'm saying? And I'm talking about tequila, you sick fuck.
Either way, I'm good with it.
Yeah. First one's Ben Roethlisberger. All right, actually, let's play a fun little game. Ben Roethlisberger. I'm gonna name a quarterback. You tell me if he's gonna be in the same uniform next season, or if he's gonna be for a different team. And if he's gonna be for a different team, who do you think he's gonna be? You like it?
Yeah, I'm with it.
All right, cool. Ben Roethlisberger.
Ben Roethlisberger will be wearing the same Steelers uniform, but it will not be at Heinz Field. It will be in the local pub. He will be living his glory days, chugging a Bud Heavy and saying, "Hey, I won some Super Bowls."
And eating pierogies, because they do that a lot in Pittsburgh.
Oh, I love me a good pierogi. I'm Polish, so.
Oh, are you? You should go to Pittsburgh. They have the Polish Hill in Pittsburgh, where they literally have all these Polish restaurants. And, bro, they are the best pierogies you will ever eat in your life. I promise you that. Someday I'll take you, maybe.
I'll take your word for it.
The Raiders play the Steelers if you're down to go. I'm going to the game this year.
You think I'm going to go to Pittsburgh to watch the Raiders? Oh, man. Get out of here. No. I mean, they signed Dwayne Haskins. They're already mentally prepared to move on.
Ben Roethlisberger will be in the black and gold next year, I think. Black and yellow, I should say. I think he's starting one more year, setting up for the next person. They'll probably draft a quarterback this year in this draft. But I think he's got one more year for the black and yellow. Next up, Alex Smith of the Washington football team.
I'd say same uniform, same team. I don't think he'll start, but he's done a lot for that organization. I think he's a good veteran presence to have in the locker room. I think they also bring someone else in, but I think he stays there as well.
Alex Smith, I think he's retiring. I think his time is up. I think his wife is in his ear and is gonna be like, "Hey, listen, I don't want to lose you or your leg, because I do be loving that third leg." But
Mm.
I think he's done. I think it'd be good for him to retire. I think he's gone through a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be the smart thing to do for sure, but I think it was like Josh McCown was brought in by a team and he knew he wasn't going to play. They just wanted him to mentor
So he
some.
collected a paycheck.
Yeah, so I could see him doing that type deal.
I could too. Next up, we have Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh man, that's another tough situation where I'm not too confident that Tua's the guy, but at the same time, I don't think Fitzpatrick is the guy either. I'll say just to make it interesting, I'll say he goes somewhere else. I think the Dolphins may surprise you with the pick they take in the draft this year,
Oh, really?
and I think Fitzpatrick is somewhere else. Yeah, I'll go with that.
I think Fitzpatrick goes back to the Houston Texans this year
Hmm?
and starts for
Huh?
them. Yes. Ryan Fitzpatrick starts 5 games for the Houston Texans and then gets taken out immediately after. Next up,
Plays well and then gets taken out like
yeah,
normal.
right. Next up is Jameis Winston.
Ooh, I say same. I don't think. I don't know. I mean, it was interesting to see he got in there, Tyler, for that one play against the Bucks. Kind of threw a pass like, "Oh, hey." That was either saying, "Hey, what does this guy got?" or "Hey, rest of the NFL, look what this guy can do." So they might have been shopping him. They might have been seeing what he's capable of. Taysom Hill is not the guy in New Orleans, which will be interesting to see what happens without Breeze there because they had a little bit, good chemistry going on in that backfield under center. I think I think they gotta at least try Jameis out under center and see what he can do. He's got the eye surgery. Supposedly he can see better. As
He threw a touchdown against the Bucks.
as weird of a season he had as last year in Tampa Bay, he did lead the league in touchdowns. Or was it yards or
It was
touchdowns?
yards.
Yards. So he knows how to sling the rock. Maybe with, some better guys around him in that locker room, we'll see what he can do.
I think they go with Jameis. I'm gonna agree. I think they go with Jameis. He starts for the Saints next season. If I'm Jameis Winston, I'm calling up my boy Michael Thomas. I'm gonna be like, yo, let's run some routes this offseason
Hmm.
because I need to get you on my side, get you back to catching 100 passes a year. He's got the weapons around him that could be even better than he had in Tampa. The situation that he has in New Orleans, especially with Sean Payton, could rejuvenate his career. I hate the guy, but I think he has the possibility of doing very well in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Next person, Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, he's gone. They're not paying him a cent there. He flopped again. He kind of showed signs of promise, and then he gets to the playoffs. They can't do anything. He's not terrible, but with that being said, the Bears need someone better than not just terrible. So they have a good defense. They have some skill guys. See what happens with Allen Robinson. They have Darnell Mooney, who I think was one of the most underrated rookie wide receivers this year. I think he's gone, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. Deshaun Watson circulating around, Chicago, his name being thrown around. We'll see what comes of that situation.
Mitchell Trubisky, I agree again, gone from Chicago, will be a backup quarterback for, just going to throw out a team. Let's say Detroit Lions stays in the NFC North, going to be, a backup quarterback for the rest of his career in the NFL. What a bust, by the way, by the Bears. Could
Yeah,
have had Watson for not even having to trade up any draft picks.
yeah.
Um, Next up, your boy, Teddy Bridgewater.
I mean, I gave my pick on the show last week, I think, if not the week before. I say my pick for Deshaun Watson is the Carolina Panthers. With that being said, in turn, that means the end of Teddy Bridgewater experiment, I guess I should say. So I think he's gone. Yeah.
Gone. Teddy Bridgewater is going to stay in Carolina, I predict. I think they're going to give him one more season with Matt Ruley. I think they had a good season together. No Christian McCaffrey, kind of already left them up to be doomed, and battling injuries throughout the year with Teddy Bridgewater didn't help either. I think they're going to give him one more season.
A little more
Next up,
optimistic than I
yep,
am.
next up, former Panther player Killer Cam.
Oh, he's gone, 100%. He's out. He's probably already has his bags packed. I'm not sure what's going on with Cam Newton. You think, oh, put him in a Belichick offense. A lot of people were saying he could win MVP, like a dark horse um, type pick. But yeah, I think that didn't they already confirm he's gone, or
I think
was that
they
just
kind
Adam
of hinted towards
Schefter
it.
on his BlackBerry saying, "Oh, yep, someone said he's gone."
Yeah, no, I mean, Killer Cam, I mean, the Patriots this season showed how good of a quarterback Tom Brady truly is. He definitely hid a lot of the flaws that they had. It didn't also help that they had the most players sit out due to COVID. But
Mhm.
Cam Newton, I just don't see him fitting in any team in the NFL scheme. He's not as fast as he used to be. His arm strength is just disgusting. He throws ducks. I think this is the end for Cam Newton. I hope you prove me wrong, but
Mhm.
your stats don't lie.
Yeah, I don't hate Cam. I hope he does well, finds a home, and um, you know, prospers. But he is kind of he was supposed to be what Josh Allen is right now, kind of a bigger
Hmm.
guy, not really a speed rushing quarterback, but some goal line rushes for touchdowns. But Josh Allen can pass the ball. Cam Newton, he just can't transition to a pocket passer. So like you said, yeah, I don't think he really fits in anywhere, unfortunately.
Next up, we got Jimmy Garoppolo.
This one's tough for me. I hope Jimmy G. I guess you could say Matt Stafford too. I hope these guys just kind of show teams, hey, because he's your guy doesn't mean you need to pay him the most money out of anyone. I remember it was like Matt Stafford got the most money than Aaron Rodgers, and then Jimmy G was like, oh wait, you want me now? This is my price tag, and they pay him. What happens? The guy brings him to the Super Bowl. But other than that, he's been hurt for, I don't know, Tyler, dare I say, half the games he's been, a part of the 49ers organization. I think he stays. I don't think they try to move him, but I just hope the rest of the league kind of uses this as an example. You don't need to pay this guy max money, because he does, he thinks he's better than everyone else or he wants to stay.
I think Jimmy Garoppolo stays only if they don't sign another quarterback to come in. I think they're gonna go heavy against going for Deshaun Watson and Aaron Rodgers. I think they have, that play on, oh, Aaron Rodgers, come back home, play for your hometown team, blah, 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 blah. And obviously Deshaun Watson with, playing with Kyle Shanahan, the mastermind. I think he stays unless they bring in those two guys.
Hmm.
Next up, we have Jared Goff.
That's an interesting one too. The Cali boys. Golf. What do I make of Golf? I don't think he's the guy, but I think Sean McVay really likes him. I think he brought him to the Super Bowl, and that's probably enough for them to say, he might be able to do it again. So I think he
Uh,
stays.
you think he stays? I think
Mm.
he's gonna stay too. I think they're gonna play it as, oh, we lost because Jared Goff had a bad finger. You know, that's the only reason why he was playing injured. I think what really needs to be addressed though is getting pieces around him that are gonna play well. First off, they need to figure out who the fuck's gonna run the ball. That running back by committee
Yeah.
fucked me so hard this year in every single one of my fantasy leagues. And their defense, they really need to step up in big games. Jalen Ramsey can't be talking the talk when Devontae Adams is catching 10 passes on you in the
Hmm.
divisional game. Um, in essence, Jared Goff stays. I think he's young. He has age on his side. And they're gonna say, oh, Cooper Kupp was injured against them too. So
Yeah. Excuses.
excuses, of course. Next up, we have Carson Wentz.
Oh
I'll go
yeah.
first on this one.
Yeah.
I'll go first. Carson Wentz is gone by a million. I honestly could see him starting elsewhere. I want to say he's going to play for the Colts next year,
Hmm.
return back with the offensive coordinator that they have. I think the offensive coordinator at the Colts was the head coach at North Dakota State when he went, or some way
Hmm.
they're connected. And honestly, I think that fits Carson. Like if I was to picture Carson Wentz being drafted in the NFL, I would say that dude's going to the Indianapolis Colts because he looks like he belongs in Indiana.
Hmm. See, I feel that way about him in the Pittsburgh Steelers. I could see him
Really?
fitting really well in that offense. Yeah, so long story short, I think he will be in a different uniform. Some interesting developments with Doug Peterson being fired. A lot of the, kind of bad blood with Carson Wentz in the organization, I think, stemmed from Doug Peterson. Same with Zach Ertz. I think Wentz is gone. I think Ertz, in a strange turn of events, may stay with the Eagles, but he's not a quarterback, so I just gave you a longer answer than you needed.
Next up we have Sam Darnold. Do you want me to go
Sam
first? You've
Darnold.
been going
Yeah,
first a
you can
lot.
go
I'll let you think.
first. Let me think about it.
Yeah, yeah. I'll let you think about the next few, the rest of them. I'll go first because I've been staring at this list. Sam Darnold, I think he stays with the Jets. I think they're going to allow him to play for Saleh, their new head coach, for at least one more season, potentially putting up, players around him. The only way that Sam Darnold does not stay with the New York Jets is if Deshaun Watson, like I said with the 49ers, decides to go to New Jersey for some odd reason
Hmm.
to play with nobodies. But I think he stays.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I
I
don't.
also, can I say, I don't think he's that bad.
No,
I really don't.
I was gonna say the same thing. I don't think he's that bad. He might not be that good, but I think it's tough just with the organization and the players around him to prove if he's that good or that bad. So I think they give him another shot, like you said, bringing in Salah, see what they can do with that organization.
Next up, we have Dak Prescott. I'm going to say stay with the Cowboys. Jerry Jones, you would be the biggest idiot in the NFL history if you got rid of Dak Prescott, regardless of him absolutely shattering his ankle. The
Hmm.
dude is a baller. If I were you, I'd get rid of Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, insert name here over Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
The guy bleeds for the Cowboys, and if he decides to part ways, Cowboys, I hope they suck for the rest of time.
Yeah, they get cursed. Yeah, no, I mean he should have been signed by now. I think he will get signed and stays. Dak Prescott is definitely not the issue there, in Dallas. So I think
Who
he
is the
stays.
issue?
I mean, can you point at a general manager, owner? Because I mean, obviously, change coaches. Maybe it's Mike McCarthy
That's
still.
who I was going for.
Yeah, I mean, Zeke really had a down year. I mean, they had a lot of weapons: Cooper, Lamb, Michael Gallup,
They have the weapons. They really do.
Jalen
And their
Smith.
defense is actually baller on paper.
Yeah,
But when your quarterback that's having an MVP season destroys his ankle like he did,
yeah.
kind of hard to win games.
I would agree with you.
Next up, we have Matthew Stafford. Obviously, he's gone.
Hmm.
We're both going to agree on that because they said so.
Yeah.
Um, Honestly, I have no idea where this guy is going to go. It could be literally anywhere, and I
Hmm.
could see him taking a backup position. But why would you when you're Matthew Stafford?
Right.
Me personally, I think Matthew Stafford's a future Hall of Famer. I think stats don't lie. I think he deserves it. If Philip Rivers is going to be a Hall of Famer, then Matthew Stafford deserves to be one.
Yeah, well, we definitely disagree on that topic right there. Like you, Tyler, I also don't know or have really a strong intuition of where he'll end up. All I can say is it would be a very Jets move to sign Matthew Stafford. Hey, wait, let's bring in this guy that made it to the playoffs twice and doesn't have any playoff wins, but he's got numbers. Tyler thinks he's going to be a Hall of Famer, so let's pay him a lot of money and see what he can do.
Hey, when you talk about Hall of Fame, you talk about stats. I mean, obviously, winning is everything. But I think when you're talking about the Hall of Fame, there's a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame across the board, NFL, NBA, MLB, that never won a championship. So I
Mm.
think if he's up there in stats, I think he should definitely be up there. Now, did Calvin Johnson have a lot to do with that? Of course.
Yeah.
But, Joe Montana wouldn't be Joe Montana without Jerry Rice.
Yeah, I mean, he might make it on his 10th ballot against a bunch of kickers and punters, but other than that, I don't really see him getting in there for the
You're
gold
just a hater
jacket.
because he plays for the Lions and they're in your division.
No, I don't hate Matthew Stafford, whatever. He's been a rival for the Packers, for
But has
years.
he even been a rival?
Not really.
Can't you,
That's what I'm
can't you
saying.
give
How
this
can you
guy
even?
can't you give this guy one thing in his career in the NFL?
I mean, if Eli Manning doesn't have 2 Super Bowl wins, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer either.
Really?
Marino at least made it to the Super Bowl. If you
But he
talk
never
about
won.
numbers, no. But Stafford is just like he loses. If he makes to the playoffs, he loses in Wild Card Weekend.
Okay. And if Aaron Rodgers didn't have that one Super Bowl, you could say the same thing.
But he's made is it 6 now NFC Championship games, 5 or 6?
Okay, but I mean, Marino made it to AFC Championship games and never won. I mean, he still made it into the NFL Hall of Fame. I'm
Right,
just
and
saying,
I'm
you
saying
take away a Super Bowl like you did Eli Manning's, and now you're saying he's not in the Hall of Fame. Take away the same from Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't deserve to be
no,
in
no, no, no,
by
no.
your
Stop,
saying
stop,
then
stop,
too.
stop. No, but he's got like all-time records. Like Stafford has good numbers. I mean, we're talking about even this season, Tyler, the only quarterback to throw for 40 plus touchdowns and 5 or fewer interceptions. I think he goes back and forth between Russell Wilson, who has the best passer rating of all time. He's just got too many, stats and records that won't even be touched.
All right, let's say this though. Besides Calvin Johnson, who was the Lions' best wide receiver for Matthew Stafford to throw to?
Um,
You're gonna say Marvin Jones probably. That's like the only guy that he's ever had that's been consistent for him. I mean, the guy's had nobody to throw to yet. He makes these players good. I just think the stats. I mean, yeah, he played
Same
with
could be
Calvin
said
Johnson.
about Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he has
He has
two.
Devontae Adams.
Yeah, but he has now 2 touchdowns, both to Mercedes Lewis in the past couple of years to a first-round draft pick. So, like, I don't know what your definition of good is, but you can't.
Good is a guy like Devontae Adams. I mean, Devontae Adams was no joke out of Fresno State. Him and Derek Carr broke many records,
Hmm.
and Derek Carr knew long before he was drafted that Devontae Adams was a first round talent. He stated it many times, and I think he was snubbed. Obviously, but I mean, I guess that's agree to disagree.
Yeah, I mean, they got just to follow up, they got Kenny Galladay. I think they had, what was it, Langston?
Whoever you're about to say, I don't even care. Because anybody's name is Langston, you fucking
Langston
suck.
Galloway, wasn't that the guy?
Langston, I don't fucking know. That guy doesn't.
Either way, I'm making a fool of myself. Just keep going.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, next up is Aaron Rodgers. Like I said about Dak Prescott, if you're a Packers owner, aka Austin, and you get rid of Aaron Rodgers, you are the stupidest person in NFL history. Like you said, you just prefaced, Aaron Rodgers had 40 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 40 plus. Absolutely balled out this year. You need to find something. You need to find a new slant because this guy is not the problem. Maybe re-sign Aaron Jones, maybe not. Maybe, get rid of Aaron Jones and upgrade your defense. Maybe find a secondary wide receiver that is more reliable than MVS or Allen Lazard to help take the pressure and alleviate it off of Devontae Adams. I mean,
Hmm.
Tanyan's a great target, but he's not like a secondary option like, for instance, Chris Godwin for the
Hmm.
Bucks. So
Yeah, I
Aaron
mean,
Rodgers stays.
yeah, I mean, I agree. Obviously, just going to your point for a secondary wide receiver, they did sign Devin Funchess. Not that he's anything special. He opted out this season. Who knows what could have happened if he played? But yeah, I mean, Packers. Even now, they have a new GM, Brian Gutekunst. It's kind of still the same mold, I guess. Whoever, Ted Thompson, I guess, was the guy before who was calling the shots. He kind of just left the same mold, if you will. They don't really like signing guys, paying them a lot of money in the offseason. They brought in Jimmy Graham. That was a bust. Zadarius Smith. I mean, they bring in Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith. Look what happens. They get like the most sacks for a duo in the NFL. I think there's guys out there that they can sign in free agency that will definitely make them once again a contender. But
And let us not forget they're probably one of the best teams in the draft in terms of getting players and progressing them through their franchise.
it's all they do. It's really
It's
all
all
they
they do.
do.
No, for real. And I think that's something to applaud, bringing guys up and, playing them throughout the franchise. And there's guys out there this year that you could easily, Devontae Smith
Hmm.
from Alabama, maybe
Hmm.
trade up and get him. Imagine a Devontae Smith with Devontae Adams. That
Yeah.
would be unreal.
I mean, they could have taken Justin Jefferson when they traded up and got Jordan Love. So
Imagine that.
I don't know, Tyler. We're on the same side for once. We're asking the same question. So
Yeah. I guess that's what I'm saying is that the Packers, you have to applaud them. They do an incredible job in the draft. That's why they're always in the NFC
pat
Championship.
on the back. You guys draft and develop, and you make the NFC Championship game. Yeah,
There you
good
go.
job.
And last
Jeez.
but not least, Deshaun Watson.
Obviously not in a Texans uniform, and obviously aforementioned Tyler. I believe he'll end up on the Panthers. I think that's a good fit for him. He's kind of Southern boy, if you will, which you stated he was from where? Not
Georgia.
He's from Georgia, yeah. Not
But went to
from
Clemson, close enough.
yeah, kind of hometown. Yeah, so I think he'll end up there. I don't know, just seems like a good fit. Him and Christian McCaffrey, that could be a crazy duo. They have DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. They got a lot of weapons. The defense, could use a couple extra guys to
They
help
have a
out
lot
on
of
that
young
side.
players.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of positives if he goes there, and that's my pick.
Deshaun Watson obviously will not be with the Texans next season. My heart is telling me he lands in New Orleans. If I'm Sean Payton,
Hmm.
there's nobody more that I want on my team this offseason than Deshaun Watson. He's 24 years old. You're replacing a legend with a future legend. You have Michael Thomas. You have Alvin Kamara. Like I aforementioned, like you always say, I'm Jameis Winston's going to stay with the Saints. He's I said he's going to start, but now I want Deshaun Watson to start, so Jameis Winston is going to be forever backup quarterback. Deshaun Watson, I want you in New Orleans. The world wants you in New Orleans. Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas wants you in New Orleans. Make it happen. The Saints need to make it happen for real. Him in gold and black would be. Oof.
No, I mean that's crazy to think for that whole situation too. But I guess a follow up, Tyler, to ask you, wherever he goes, does he make them an instant contender?
No.
You think it's kind of
It's very dependent on
dependent
where he
on.
goes.
All
Yeah,
right.
because I'm not gonna say the Jets are gonna go, to the playoffs, just because of Deshaun Watson. I think it'll help. They'll probably win 2 to 4 more games, but I mean, you have to put pieces around him to do that.
I mean, what was the Texans' record this year?
I think they only won 4 games,
Okay. All right. I thought for some reason I thought they won
four
a
or
few
five,
more than
something like
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No, I mean he definitely increases their odds, but I wasn't sure if he's that type of guy because, I mean, you look at Brady, maybe not the Jets, but everyone was saying wherever he goes in the offseason, he makes them an instant contender. So I'm not sure
I
if
think he's
Deshaun Watson is kind of viewed on that same tier.
I think he's that good. I just think if Brady went to the Jets this offseason, the Jets still would have only won like 2 or 3 games. I think Brady's that good. It's just, he was kind of set up with the Bucks, and I think he kind of saw then he took the opportunity with having all the weapons that they have, and bringing in weapons. I mean, I'm not going to say that Deshaun Watson goes to the Jets, they can't bring in weapons. I'm just saying, they're not set up right now. The Saints are set up right now. They were just in the divisional for the NFC. They could have easily been in the NFC Championship. They could have easily been in the Super Bowl if maybe Breeze or Michael Thomas weren't playing hurt. So I think he has the best opportunity for him is in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We just went over the hour mark, Tyler. I'm not sure if you had any other pressing matters that you wanted to discuss.
Sir.
All right. That was a good episode. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Got a couple follows, a couple people in the chat. I think Dan commented when I was going in on you and retracting my backup for you. He said, ha ha, ha, love it. Tyler, this is kind of prime time for us right here. Obviously, a sports-oriented podcast. NFL, football is maybe our main sport. So, next show we'll be giving our Super Bowl predictions, and yeah, it'll be interesting for sure.
ACWeezy's gonna have to watch a lot of basketball to keep up with me on, some basketball. Rocking the old school Nets shirt right there.
Hey, UConn men's basketball top 25.
Hey, what's the first time in 10, 20 years?
I wouldn't say 20 years, but at least 5, yeah. As we've shown in the past, it doesn't matter what we're ranked at. We can win the March Madness no matter what.
Remember, speaking of UConn, remember that one time that they almost lost to I think it was U-Albany. They were ranked number 1, and they were facing U-Albany, who was 16.
Mm-hmm.
And Devin Harris, or was it? No, it wasn't Devin Harris. It was they had nobody. Marcus Banks was their point guard, I think.
For UConn?
Some shit like that. Their team was weak at number 1.
Yeah, I don't remember that. But with that being said, I am right back with Monday Night Gaming. So
what do you play?
CBD. I guess gotta talk to the people and see what's going on. So no matter what, we will be gaming and we will be on Insane Games TV. My camera cut out, so Tyler, I'm gonna end the stream. But with that being said, again, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Refresh the page in like a minute or so. I will be right back with the Monday Night Gaming.
Love ya.